Hi, guys. Welcome back to my podcast, Grabbing Coffee with Arun, where I talk to everyday people that are doing incredible things. My guest today is the guy is just an incredible human being. Uh, when he overcame his challenges, it's just very inspirational to talk to somebody like Michael. His name is Michael Conway. Michael, just to be just say a little bit about yourself. Michael is a cancer survivor. He's also got Tourette syndrome, which I don't know too much about, but he'll tell us. And just to start off with, Michael, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Arun. First of all, thanks for having me. You kind of built me up to be incredible. I don't know about that, but I'd be more than happy to share my story and hopefully help others that have challenges. Um, I'm 56. I had typically a normal childhood. Active in sports and things like that. And I went to college, and I had a malignant brain tumor at the age of 21.
Wow, that's
Um,
awfully young.
yeah, yeah.
How did they find that out, Michael?
I just started having bad headaches, and
Right.
I'd wake up and my head would be real heavy. But to tell you the truth, it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. Um, because of the outlook it gave me on the rest of my life. Um, your career and making money and all that's important, but I realized that it's your friends and the people around you that mean more than anything. And I learned a lot from my fraternity brothers and how much they cared about me at a young age, at 21, when your friends would tell you things that you usually don't say when you're 21 years old. But
Right.
they, they
Did they discover that while like you were on a actual a physical, or how did they?
Actually, I was working at the best job I ever had was the Tropicana Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. I was a lifeguard, and about twice a day, I just have this just completely stopping everything I'm doing because my headaches were so bad. I had to stand there for about 5 minutes, and obviously I realized something wasn't right with having headaches like that. So
Hmm.
I came back to Houston where my parents had just moved back from Vegas, and they ran tests and I went through 7 weeks of radiation treatment. Um, Short-term memory is horrible. My uh, significant hearing loss and especially my left ear. But like I said, it was probably the most important thing that ever happened to me because of the outlook it gave me on the rest of my life. Um, and also from that, sorry, Tourette syndrome is hereditary.
Hmm.
Typically, a male has it. 3 out of 4 people, it's in a male as opposed to female. So I probably got the gene from my father. I didn't have an active case of Tourette when I was growing up, but from the cancer, either the surgery or the radiation or something just caused it to set it off, and I've had an active case of Tourette since then. I take a medication which keeps it fairly under control. Um, but like anyone else, I mean, we all have things we got to deal with, and it's just it's working with other people and being friends and helping each other, and just we get through things like that.
So, Michael, can you talk a little bit about what that is? Because I know I've heard a little bit about it, but what
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it?
When people, I think when most people hear Tourette syndrome, they think of the cussing. That's what in the movies and on TV.
Right.
That's kind of how they're portrayed, is the involuntary swearing. Where actually that's a low percentage of people actually have that. It's called coprolalia. Most people have verbal or motor tics.
Hmm.
Like neck jerking. Most of my tick. And what's funny is when I run races, especially running, and I start ticking, people kind of look around like because they don't know where that noise is coming from, and they're like, "What's going on?"
Right.
So, you know,
So let me ask you, how did you? Because when I met you, you were already involved with Catapult. How did you get involved in running?
yeah, actually, I've always been in decent shape, but I met a girl that started dating when I was 40. I don't not date her anymore, but when I was about 40, and she challenged me. She was a runner,
Right.
and she challenged me to a sprint triathlon and trained for a couple months, and pretty much that's how I got into it. So that wasn't until I was 40 years old. So I've only been doing endurance stuff for about 15 years. So I started off in triathlon for about 5 years, and then I discovered trail running, which I just totally fell in love with because it's so much more peaceful. There's a lot less people. You go to like the Houston Marathon. I think they're like 27,000 people. You go to a 100 miler, and there may be 250 people, and you
Hmm.
spread that over 100 miles. I mean, you could run like 10 miles and not see anyone else.
Right.
So it's in nature, and it's a lot more enjoyable. And plus, unless you're an elite runner, most people for those longer distances aren't running the whole time. So you walk with people for a long time, and you get to know people. I mean, I've made friends around the country. Um, I did a race in Utah, and I met a number of people that were on a team called Addicts to Athletes, meaning they were either addicted to drugs or alcoholics or something, and they channeled it into being an athlete instead of an addict.
Hmm.
And I told them my story, and it was just kind of cool. So, in trail running, it's much different than triathlons and running, road running, and things, because it's a different community of people, and you bond with people more. You spend time with people. So, but
Michael, to be honest with you, that
uh-huh.
with your challenges and you're gainfully employed, which is really really cool because I mean I worked for the city of Houston for quite a long time,
Hmm.
and with all your challenges, that you're an example to a lot of people because they can look at you and go, hey, here's Michael. He's got all these challenges, but yet he's doing all these things, which is very inspirational. So
Yeah.
how does Tourette's affect you in daily life today?
Well, since the pandemic started, I work from home, so it doesn't really affect me that much.
Hmm.
My takes come out more when I'm in public places where there's a lot of, like an airport or the grocery store, where there's stimulus, there are a lot of people, there's a lot of things going on,
Hmm.
but when I'm at home, I mean, everything's in its place, and there are no surprises. One thing I wanted to mention is I started a camp. We've had 21 years, camp for kids
Hmm.
between like 5 and 18 that
Right.
have Tourette, and we've been doing that for, like I said, 21 years. And all the kids, each one of them have been diagnosed with Tourette, and it's a great long weekend for them to get away from their home environment, from their school, where they're made fun of, and have all the issues, and they get there, and I realize that there's over 100 people here, and they all have Tourette.
Hmm.
So it's a really neat deal, and that's probably the highlight of my life.
So tell me more
It,
about that, Michael. How does somebody get in touch with you or get involved in the camp?
yeah, well, the campus is funded by the Tourette Syndrome Association of Texas.
Hmm.
Um, I believe the website is www.tsatexas.org.
Hmm.
Um, I've been serving as the president of that organization for about 10, 15 years. And again, we help children and families all across the state of Texas um,
Hmm.
that are affected by Tourette, whether it be Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, El Paso. And the camp is free, by the way. It's a free camp. It's the only camp that I know of that for Tourette syndrome that is free to the campers, to the families. I know there are other camps. There are a few other camps I know of, Tourette camps, but ours is paid by donors.
So, Michael, is there any kind of a cure or is there any kind of research they're working on that?
No, there is no cure for Tourette. Again, it's genetic,
Hmm.
um, and there's medications that treat the symptoms, and but no, there's no cure. But it, again, to tell you, it doesn't really affect me on a day
Mm-hmm.
to day basis. What affects me actually more is my attention deficit. Most people with Tourette syndrome have another condition like um, either OCD or
Mm-hmm.
attention deficit and things like that, and which is and those things are actually more hard to deal with than the symptoms of Tourette, the ticking or ticks, as
Mm-hmm.
you might know them. Um, but again, being involved with running and just meeting people from around the country, everyone has a challenge or two that they're dealing with. Some people it's just more obvious.
Except me, Michael. I don't have anything.
I know, you're perfect. You're perfect,
No,
Arun.
I'm just.
I knew that when
Well,
I knew that when I first met you that
well,
this guy's perfect.
believe it or not, Michael, I got more than the next guy. It's just. I mean, I've done some races, but so Michael, what are some? I mean, you've done some incredible races, right? I mean, you've done like 100 miler or something like that. Can you talk a
then
little
I,
bit about
and then
that?
I, then a 100 miler. I've done 300 kilometer races this year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the tough part is, most of the races I do are either Colorado, Utah, or further north, and the training seasons are different because obviously you can't run in the winter time up there, but that's when you train down here in Houston because you obviously can't train during the day in the middle of the summer
Mm-hmm.
here in Houston. So it's kind of a conflict trying to train for races up there because um, I can't train during the summer. I'm on a treadmill, but that's like being on a gerbil or a hamster on a spinning wheel.
Let me ask you this, Michael. That what is the youngest person that you've seen that has Tourette syndrome?
Well, again, you're born with it, but until you're probably at least 3 or 4 years old, the symptoms don't actually start to show.
Right.
Um,
That's
but I
interesting.
would encourage anyone to just to look it up. Look up Texas TouretteTexas.org. See
Hmm.
what we're all about. I work for MD Anderson. Like I said, I had cancer when I was younger, and I've been at MD Anderson for a little over 23
But it doesn't
years.
affect your work life or anything like that, right? You're gainfully employed, so that's
It
kind of
doesn't.
cool.
Nah, you're right. You're right. My tread has never affected any of my relationships, my employment, or any other aspects. I mean, there are people that have a difficult problem and it causes them a challenge with different things in life. So I've been blessed and lucky that I've been able to succeed at most things that I do.
Yeah, let me ask you on a different. I'm going to change gears on you and ask you, what do you think about guiding people that are visually impaired? I know you guided what's his name, David. I can't think of his last name now, but
Yeah.
so what do you think about that? Guiding somebody that but you have your own disabilities, and then here you see somebody else that's got some challenges, and how does that affect the way you guide somebody or the way you train? Or let me let
Well,
me.
I love guiding.
Mm,
It feels a lot better to finish a race helping someone than actually just running by myself and doing it.
I know
Just
you
the
guided me several times, and
I have done that, and just a real reward and honor to help someone else out. Like I said, when I had my cancer, my my mentality just kind of changed, and I've just been much more caring and compassionate for people
hmm
um, with whatever they're going through. But I really enjoyed guiding, and I've guided a fellow at the Houston Marathon for about 5 or 6 years now. And like you said, Arun, we've run together a few times and will in the future. So I would say for those that are out there that are runners, I mean, look into that. Look to guiding someone. It's a very rewarding experience, and anything that you do that helps someone else more than yourself is a great experience.
yeah, it's kind of cool if somebody can actually look outside of themselves to help somebody else, and that's what I love about Catapult. Because these
Hmm.
people are all volunteers and all that. But just to kind of wrap all this up, Michael, what do you tell somebody that's a young person that's going through like kind of like the challenges that you have? Let's say if they're faced with something like that, what do you tell them? You
Um,
being like a let's say I would say that you're experienced and you know the know-how, you've been through it and all that. What do you tell them?
I would, well, when it comes to like running and things, or compared to that, I would tell them, start small. I mean, you don't have to make grandiose accomplishments. I mean, just start small. I mean, surround yourself with people that care about you and you care about them.
Hmm.
That's like my camp. I mean, these kids, now with social media, have stayed in touch with each other, and they have their own little network going.
Right.
Um, but as far as endurance sports, I mean, I started off with a 5K, then a 10K, and then and it's the same. It's with any aspect of life. Anyone, whether you're dealing with a challenging diagnosis or not. I mean, start small.
Hmm.
You know, make accomplishments, and then just continue to improve at whatever it is, whether it's work or athletics or anything.
So do they test for that when you're a little younger person, Michael? The Tourette syndrome?
Now, usually the symptoms will present themselves,
Right.
and a
Pretty
parent
obvious,
will
I guess.
and a parent will take their child to see a specialist, and they'll diagnose it. But
Hey, let me ask you something. Have you done Boston? I mean, I'm just dying. I know you, but have you done like the Boston? Not, I'm not trying to just, but
well,
I
again,
know.
I don't do much road running, so most of my running is trail running, so I'm not really interested
Uh,
in Boston or New York, or really.
yeah,
Actually, I like the smaller races.
I like the 5Ks, Michael. As I get older, I just turned 60 this year. I
Yeah,
love the 5Ks. Listen, Michael, you are truly, truly an inspiration. I cannot
that's not.
tell you how much I look up to you, and you're an example. I mean, you've done so many things that I mean, because of what you're doing, I feel like I can do this podcast because I don't know what I'm doing with this podcast to be honest with you. And I'm doing it because I'm just learning what to do and how to do it and all that because I know that I saw you and the way you guided me and everything, it just like made me feel like, hey, this guy can do it, I can do it too.
Well, that's nice of you to say, Arun, and I appreciate your kind words, and I feel highly about you as well. And one thing I'd say is this: with anything in life is, um, when I was going through my cancer, I
Hmm.
knew I wasn't going to get well the next day. Um, so I got the attitude, and I applied this to everything in life now. Is that I might feel like crap today, and may feel like crap tomorrow, but each day I get through, I'm one day closer to where I want to be.
Right. Right.
Maybe may take 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, but each day I get through, I'm one day closer to the state of mind or where in my life I want to be, and I think everyone should kind of apply that
Yeah.
attitude.
Yeah. I
But
mean, what I love about you is that you're gainfully employed. And that is really cool because I mean, I worked for the city for about 21 years, and I thought, man, if
yeah,
I mean, it was just like with my visual impairment, I did this job, and I thought,
yeah,
with your challenges, you're doing you're working for MD Anderson and all that. Well, listen,
yeah.
Michael, it was an honor to have you, and if you guys want to get in touch with me, my email is grabbingcoffee with Arun, Arun at gmail.com. And I hope this episode puts a smile on your face because there are people like Michael out there that are doing things with challenges like the ones he was talking about. So, Michael, you're truly an inspiration. Thank you for your time and thank you for your efforts. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Arun. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Take care,
Talk to you
Michael.
soon. Bye.
Bye bye.